the runcible spoon. And hand in hand they learn and they dance by the light of the moon. The moon, the moon, they dance by the light of the moon.
Wonderful, thank you. I want to teach you how to applaud in sign language so that you can give yourselves a great big silent hand. Sign language is the language of deaf people, and it's a language that I have learned. And so if you were performing and you were deaf and you couldn't hear your audience clap, you would want to see their hands. So this is how deaf people applaud. Why don't you give yourselves a big hand? Silent applause. Hear all the noise we're not making? Wonderful. I'm going to start by reading you some of my favorite poems about animals. While I'm reading them to you, think about the animals that you know and have loved. Think about dreams about animals, or the dreams that animals have. Whatever you'd like, whatever strikes your mind and your imagination. The first one is funny. You know, poetry is a good place to be funny. So I think you'll like this one, although it uses some very bad language. What a wonderful bird the frog are. When he stand, he sit almost. When he hop, he fly almost. He ain't got no sense hardly. He ain't got no tail hardly either. When he sit on what he ain't got almost. Did you hear what the bad language was?
Yes.
What was that?
It was the language not really. You were using ain't a lot.
I used ain't a lot. Yes.
Like name calling and
He was teasing that frog, wasn't he? He called him a wonderful bird. In poetry, you can use language that's normally considered wrong, like ain't and don't got no. Because in poetry, you're the author and you can use the language that you want. Yes?
does poetry have to rhyme?
Does poetry have to rhyme? That's an excellent question. It can, but no, it doesn't. None of my poems rhyme, and I don't think any of these that I'm reading you rhyme, which makes you wonder, what is a poem?
I was wondering what exactly it was a poem.
What exactly is a poem? A poem is not a story. It's shorter than a story. A poem sometimes sounds like two people talking. Sometimes it sounds like a memory. Sometimes it sounds like a dream. I would say a poem is anything that is not a story. A poem is a song that you say instead of singing. So here's the next poem that I want to share with you. I'm going to show it to you. I've written it big so that you can see it. Because the title is also the first line of the poem. When you write poetry, you put the words wherever you want, however you want on the page. If this was a story, each word would follow the other until the page was full. When it's a poem, you can put one word on a line if you want people to look at that word. So you can see with this poem what the poet wanted you to see. That poet would put only one or two words on the line so you'd know to pay special attention. Smart, like the fox who grabs a stick and wades into the water, deep and deeper, until only his muzzle's above it. His fleas leap up and up, onto his head, out onto the stick, which he lets go of. Off it floats as he swims back and shakes himself dry. What happened to the fleas?
He got wet, so they would jump off him, and so they jump on the stick, and then he let go, so they drift everywhere he was having fleas.
Is a fox smart enough to do that?
No.
How many people think a fox is smart enough to do that? How many people don't? You know, I don't know. I hope they are. I hope my dogs read this poem. Here's a very short poem about an animal. This is by a poet named D.H. Lawrence. This was written a long time ago. It's called The White Horse. The youth walks up to the white horse to put its halter on, and the horse looks at him in silence. They are so silent, they are in another world. Very short, very simple, but did it give you a feeling?
Yeah.
And you see, that's what poetry should do. It should give you a feeling when you hear it or read it. Whether it's a funny feeling or a feeling of peace and understanding. Okay, I'm going to read you one more animal poem before I ask you to do some writing. This is by a poet named James Wright. He lived in Minnesota, and he taught at the college that I went to, although he was gone by the time I got there. Just off the highway to Rochester, Minnesota, twilight bounds forth softly on the grass, and the eyes of those two Indian ponies darken with kindness. They have come gladly out of the willows to welcome my friend and me. We step over the barbed wire into the pasture, where they have been grazing all day alone. They ripple tensely. They can hardly contain their happiness that we have come. They bow, shyly as wet swans. They love each other. There is no loneliness like theirs. At home once more, they begin munching the young tufts of spring in the darkness. I would like to hold the slenderer one in my arms, for she has walked over to me and nuzzled my left hand. She is black and white. Her mane falls wild on her forehead, and the light breeze moves over me to caress her long ear that is as delicate as the skin on a girl's wrist. Suddenly I realize that if I stepped out of my body, I would break into blossom. What do you think about the ending of that poem?
It gives people a happy feeling, and it's a good ending.
What do you think it means? If I was going to step out of my body, I would break into blossom. Yes?
I think it means that he's stepping out of the world for a little bit and just being in happiness and surrounded with happiness.
And can people grow roses out of their head?
No.
No.
So why would he say that?
Because he just wants to make it happy and cheerful.
And he wants you to get the feeling he got from walking up to those horses. So here's what I'd like you to do. You can write about an animal you have known, an animal you'd like to be, an animal you'd like to ask questions to. You can write about any idea that these poems gave to you. Maybe it's not about animals. That's okay too. There's a funny one, a very short funny one. This 4th grade girl was writing a poem about a snake, and she said, "Are you a slithering, slimy avalanche? How come Kitty and Everett are afraid of you?" Now, we can imagine who Kitty is. I have no idea who Everett is.
Everett's probably your dog.
Maybe it's her dog, or her brother. Yes?
Or her cat.
Or her
Your
cat,
cat's probably Kitty.
or her turtle. But whoever it is, she wants to know why they're afraid of that snake. Some people write poems to their dogs that have died. I have a poem called "Farewell, Ratso. I hope you like your new home, but who will find you water skippers in heaven?" What do you think Ratso does with water skippers? Eats them. That's right. That's right. So, do you have some ideas for what you'd like to write about?
Yeah.
You have something in mind?
Yeah.
You can write about sports if you want. Well, let's get going. We'll take about 10 or 15 minutes to do our writing. Don't worry about spelling. Don't worry about how neat and perfect the paper is. This is our first copy. This is the copy for you to invent and imagine and create. We can always fix up the spelling later. Your teacher and I are both here to help you if you need any help with any of your writing, to help give you ideas, or if there's a word that you just have to spell right, we can help you. Anyone have any questions before we start? Now, Be sure and include details when you do your writing. Larry was just telling me about his dog, wanting him to send out for a pizza, and he showed me how she sits when she's waiting for her pizza. When you do your writing, include all that information. How do things look, feel, smell, and sound? What were the colors? Did you suddenly smell strawberries in the air? You just have to sit and daydream a little bit to get your ideas going. Just relax and let your thoughts go. Sometimes if I don't have an idea, I just start writing, even if I say I don't know what to say. And as I write, the ideas start coming. I love it.
Instead of describing
Do you get real involved in the game you watch? When you make that touchdown, I had to do it. Or I choked the funny things that they do. And use their names and tell me what they look like. Do the dogs chase the cat? And the cat get all big and hiss and scratching?
Only one of my dogs takes the cat, a little puppy.
My only pup is black with curls and with a soft black nose. He is my only pup. I love my only pup with big eyes and a cute smile. He is my only little pup. He used repeating or repetition, my only little pup. And that gives the poem rhythm. I almost call it a song because it has such a good rhythm to it.
That little pup killing dangerous chicken. That's right in my backyard.
Class, I don't want to rush you, but I'd like you to think about finishing up your writing because the really exciting part comes next. You get to hear what great creativity is in the imagination of your classmates. I would rather listen to fourth graders read poetry than go to a movie or watch TV because you're much more interesting people than TV. You don't like reading out loud? Sometimes you can trade it with a friend. And you read your friend's poem, and your friend reads yours. That way it's a little less nerve-wracking. So when we read, the author can sit in his chair and read their poem. If you're not done, you can finish while we start. Are most of you done enough that we could begin to read our poems?
Almost.
How many people are done or on the very last sentence? Raise your hand so I can get an idea. Oh, that's most of you. Okay, now let's see who raises their hand who'd like to read first. Now you're going to have to use your playground voice. You know when you yell on the playground? And hold the poem down from your face because, can I use this as an example? If you have someone get up and read their poem with a quiet voice in front of their page, you miss the poem. So you want to hold your page down here and bounce your voice off that back wall so it comes back to you and blows your bangs.
My cat, she's fat. She's the fattest cat around. And if a coyote ever tried to eat her, she could swing her fat and knock him far away. My cat, she's soft. She's the softest cat around. And if you touch her soft, fuzzy fur, you'll feel as if you were in heaven. My cat, she's sweet. She's the sweetest cat around. And I love my cat with all my heart, 'cause she's my cat and I love her.
Wow. Very nice. Good reading voice, too. Thank you. You're so brave to go first.
The BFD. The BFD is my imaginary friend. He's big, he's friendly, he's a dragon. Therefore, I named him the BFD. In the summer, we climb trees, go swimming, and have fun. We forget about everything and enjoy the summer. In the winter, we sip hot chocolate cappuccinos. He only drinks cappuccinos. He's picky. In the fall, we make leaf piles and jump into them. In spring, we go hiking and enjoy the animals. BFD, big, friendly, and he's a dragon. From here to there, to the tip of the mountains, to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. From here to there, it is so beautiful. It smells like the blossoming of a flower. From snow to dust, from cool to hot. It will tip off my golden blue cap. And my black and white cat. My black and white cat has a black and white hat and a black and white suit that goes right down his back. He has black and white fur and he cuddles and purrs. And the mouse in my room. The mouse in my room has a blue and white dress, but her face is just a big mess. The mouse in my room is Little Blue. The mouse in my room's name is Little Blue Tess.
My only pup. My only pup is black with white curls, and with a soft black nose is my only pup. I love my only pup with big eyes and a cute smile. He's my only little pup.
Mine's called Maybe. I always wondered if dogs want to talk. Maybe they're just as full of ideas as humans. Maybe everything they do, such as jumping or waving, looking, scratching, howling, and barking, all mean something. Perhaps when they howl, they're trying to sing. Or when they look at you with those desperate eyes, they're trying to ask for food. Well, I guess we'll never know. We better leave that up to scientists or me. Dreams. What are dreams? Where do they come from? Maybe they come from some world far beyond Earth, a land of fantasy and wonder. Maybe they live in your head. Maybe they just jump in your head at night. Some are good, some are bad.
Raindrops. Falling, falling, raindrops falling, falling from the sky. Falling, falling, raindrops falling, though I don't know why. Like a pincher being soaked, I seem to be awakened. From the falling, patting, cutting, raindrops from the sky. Sounding like a million pinheads falling from above. Pittering, pattering, falling, falling, raindrops from the sky.
Wow! She had such wonderful movement and rhythm in that poem. I love that she said the raindrops were like pinheads falling from the sky.
In the wandering waters of the sparkling blue, the fish dive like graceful waters under the ocean blue. The splashing of the fins sound like the clapping of horses' hoofs, echoing in the canyon far below.
Any questions for her about her poem? I loved the way she said the fins sound like the clapping of horses' hooves. That was such a wonderful comparison of sound.